So it looks like the UK government is shattering upon this new revelation with the Epstein files. Now that documents have surfaced, more and more people have investigated all these millions of pages of exposing the horrendousness, the connections that Jeffrey Epstein had from clientele to other traffickers to people of all sorts. As I stated, this goes beyond just one individual. This goes beyond just Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell. It is about the connections. It is about the people that they were interacting with. It was the people that allowed for this to go on for such an extensive time. And the UK government is collapsing with the release of the Epstein files. I didn't think this was even possible, given the fact that the United States doesn't seem interested in prosecuting anybody or even bothering to point the finger at anybody. They're just now giggling at the fact that, hell, we captured you. You're not going to do anything. You're too dumb and too brainwashed to actually hold a revolt against us. The Canadian government, same thing. There's people on that list that they're not going to be held account. But UK government seems to be collapsing under this. This is according to X releasing this statement. It says Keir Starmer faces resignation calls amid Mandelson Epstein scandal. This is from February 9th. It says new U.S. Justice Department documents revealed Mandelson's ongoing friendship with Epstein after his 2008 conviction, leading to the sacking of Starmer's chief of staff, Morgan McSweeney, and communications director, Tim Allen. Not the actor. I just want to make that clear. If it was the actor, he'd just do the grunt. Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar, is that how you say it, Sarwar, called for Starmer's resignation, while voices like Piers Morgan echoed the demand through loyalists such as David Lammy and Rachel Reeves defended his mandate and progress on NHS waits and inflation. Downing Street insists Starmer remains upbeat and committed, even as betting odds highlight uncertainty over his leadership. Wow. So, who would ever thought the Brits, given the fact that you have the police going around arresting journalists, cracking down on free speech, how, not to, point fingers at British people, I respect the Brits, but the country is falling off a cliff. No different than us here back at home here in Canada and the United States, but they're not really any different or special in regards to this, but it's kind of amazing that the UK government gets the highlight of this. They're the ones that get kicked down with the Epstein reveal as compared to the United States, as compared to Canada. Seems very interesting. Even Australia, because the Australian government definitely covered up the fact that Virginia Giuffre died by circumstances after that bus crash that was investigated, and they were definitely involved in that cover-up, and they also have, members of their government involved in the list. So it's just crazy. See all this. Here's what Global News says. It says British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's chief of staff resigned Sunday over the furor surrounding the appointment of Peter Mandelson as the UK ambassador to the United States, despite his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Morgan McSweeney said he took responsibility for advising Starmer to appoint Mandelson, 72, to Britain's most important diplomatic post in 2024. The decision to appoint Peter Mandelson was wrong. He has damaged our party, our country, and trust in politics itself, McSweeney said in a statement. I advised the Prime Minister to make the appointment, and I will take full responsibility for that advice. Starmer is facing a political storm of questions about his judgment after newly published documents, part of the huge trove of Epstein files made public in the United States, suggests that Mandelson sent market-sensitive information to the convicted SEX offender when he was the UK government's business secretary during the 2008 financial crisis. So this is the other thing that reveals about the Epstein files and the connections, that Epstein was not just a PDF file that was trafficking for other PDFs to have sex with underage victims. There was also money laundering. There was also information. Jeffrey Epstein was a spy. He was sending information all across the world to different agencies. He was blackmailing, deceiving people, and he was collecting sensitive information from other countries to sell off to other high individuals. This is why elites are able to strive through these global crises like the 2008 financial crash, because Jeffrey Epstein got this information from Peter Mandelson out of the UK and told other people that, yeah, the market was going to crash. So here, take your money out of the housing industry and put it towards this. This is insider trading. This goes on so periodically. This is highly illegal. Highly illegal. That goes every single day. That's been going on for decades. And that's why these insidious people get the positions of power that they do. Not because of merits, not because of smarts, because of the sinister stuff they do behind closed doors. Starmer's government has promised to release its own emails and show documentation related to Mandelson's appointment, which it says will show that Mandelson missed officials. The Prime Minister apologized this week for having believed Mandelson's lies. He said none of us knew the depth of the darkness of the relationship between Mandelson and Epstein, where the former was vetted for the diplomat job. But a number of lawmakers have called for Starmer to resign. Keir Starmer has to take responsibility for his own terrible decisions, said Kemi, how do you say that? Kemi Badenoch, leader of the opposition Conservative Party. Mandelson, a former cabinet minister, ambassador, and elder statesman of the Governor Laboring Party, has not been arrested or charged. Figure. Metropolitan police officers searched Mandelson's London home and another property linked to him on Friday. Police said the investigation is complex and will require a significant amount of further evidence gathering and analysis. What it sounds like to me is that the police are going to be waiting for orders by the government, who are getting orders from their masters to cover this up. That's what it sounds like to me. They're going to try and find a way to make light of this. They're going to try and find a way to deceive you instead of pointing out the fact that the UK government is just as awful, corrupt, and complicit as the United States, as Canada, as Australia, as any other country. This is what's all been revealed, folks. They're not innocent. None of these people are innocent. They're complicit in one way or another. The UK police investigation centers on the potential misconduct in public office, and Mandelson is not accused of any sex offenses. Starmer had fired Mandelson in September from his ambassadorial job over earlier revelations about his Epstein ties. But critics say the emails recently published by the United States Justice Department had brought serious concerns about Starmer's judgment to the fore. They argue that he should have known better than to appoint Mandelson in the first place. The new revelations include documents suggesting Mandelson shared sensitive government information with Epstein after the 2008 global financial crisis. They also include records of payments totaling $75,000 in 2003 and 2004 from Epstein to accounts linked to Mandelson or his husband, Ronaldo Alvia da Silva. Aside from his association with Epstein, Mandelson previously had to resign twice from senior government posts because of scandals over money or ethics. Wow. A guy who had to resign twice. Guy is a serial liar and multiple times caught in scandals. He had to resign twice. They still keep bringing him back. It's like Al Pacino. I try to get out, but they pull me back in. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's also just amazing that the UK government, of all places, is getting crumbled by this. Not the United States, not Canada. You would think that, you know, the Donald Trump administration, the Democrats, that, you know, governments in the Western Hemisphere would be crumbling with all these revelations. But no, they're just laughing it up because they know that they got you. They know you're not going to do anything about it. They know that you're too stupid to put two and two together. But the UK government, interesting, is getting the highlight of this. Here's this guy, Steve Powers. It says, breaking, Keir Starmer caught lying about not knowing about his advisor's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. He publicly backed Peter Mandelson in The Telegraph just last June, vowing to continue to seek his advice. So here, they're going to show a video. This is Keir Starmer. After speculation of this guy, speculation of his relationship with Epstein, and how he gave classified information, sensitive financial information to Jeffrey Epstein that coordinated with other intelligence agencies during the 2008 financial crash. Here's Keir Starmer lying in the general public to keep this guy on as an advisor. A guy who is a serial liar, aligned with Jeffrey Epstein, gave away sensitive information, and had to resign twice already because of political scandals and corruption. So here's Keir Starmer lying through his teeth about it.
On Peter Mandelson, look, and I do try to give pretty full answers in these sessions. I don't know any more than you do, and therefore there's not really much I can add to.
I don't know any more than you do. That should be a problem right there, right? That should be a problem. You're the Prime Minister of this country. You're a Prime Minister of the UK. You're picking people to be your advisors. Don't you think you have the responsibility to know who these people are? Oh, I don't know anything better than you do. How do you think that makes ordinary people feel? Oh, I don't know anything more than you do. What? What? You're telling me a guy that's supposed to lead the country, the UK, does not know who his advisors are any more than the ordinary person? That seems scary to me. That seems scary to me. You're leading the country. You don't know who your advisors are. Well, I don't know anything more than you do. You're telling me you didn't do background checks? You don't have the ability to do a criminal record of this guy to know if he's okay, if he's acceptable, if he's capable of doing the job that he's doing, if he's capable of doing the diplomatic role? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Or maybe he just didn't have the choice because his owners, his handlers, told him to get this guy. Let's hear this again. That's
on Peter Mandelson. Look, and I do try to give pretty full answers in these sessions. I don't know any more than you do, and therefore there's not really much I can add to what you already know, I'm afraid. And you know, that's simply the state of the affairs.
That's just the state of the affairs. You know, guy comes in. He was already kicked out twice because he's a serial liar and scandal and a complete con artist. You know, he had to resign twice from government posts. He has a relationship with a international known PDF file that's trafficking. You know, just how it is, state of affairs. And we didn't know anything about it. You know, like a good leader does. Doesn't do background checks, doesn't check twice to see if this guy's gay. No, he just, you know, you just got told to hire this guy. You don't know anything about him. You don't know anything about him, so let's just move on. Holy crap. That should terrify people. That should terrify people. You're supposed to be the leader of this country. You have the highest position in power of the UK, other than the royal family, you have the highest position in political power in the UK. You're telling me you don't know anything about the advisor you brought on? You don't know a damn thing? Oh, just how it is. Wow. And now we know this guy is a pathological liar who got kicked out of government twice already. And gave classified information about the financial crisis, probably banking and deep financial institutional information. Gave a bunch of, secret information. Jeffrey Epstein. He sold out the country to give to a blackmailer. And you don't know anything about it. Keir Starmer has no idea. And that's just how it is. Unfortunately, I don't know what else to say. Wow. That should scare the bejesus out of you. So here's Stu Powers again. There's another video saying, breaking, Keir Starmer laughs and jokes and hugs Epstein associate advisor Peter, that's Peter Mandelson, as they tour America. MSM instructed to stay silent. So, again, this is what I mean. All these people are complicit. All of them are complicit. This is why you have to understand. Stop doing this cookie cutter and stop making up excuses. Stop pretending that, well, no, this guy is good and this guy. No. The entire system is corroded within with these insufferable, insidious, evil MFers that should not be in a position of power, but they are in a position of power because of how corrosive the entire system is. And people need to recognize this. People need to wake up and realize that it's all intertwined. So, here's Starmer. This is him and Peter Mandelson in the White House. I think this is when Zelensky was there too. I think this is the meeting that they had with Zelensky to try to keep the Ukraine war going, by the way. Which we're going to get into a segment how Ukraine is aligned with Jeffrey Epstein. You're going to want to see that because that's terrifying. And then it makes you really question exactly why we're so complicit in fighting for Ukraine in this war. Why we keep this war going. It really opens your eyes on this. But watch this. So there they are giggling. There they are laughing it up. Ha 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 ha. So wonderful. And to the right there, you can see there's the information. That's Jeffrey Epstein's client book, sorry. That's his client book. So that's his name. That's his contact info. There he is. Member of Parliament, House of Commons, London, England. Who he's married to. His phone number, his work lines, everything you know about him. That's Jeffrey Epstein's list. There's a photo of them, 2006.
But to us, he's just Peter.
They're laughing. Oh, to us, we just know him as Peter. Because, do you think we're actually going to hold people accountable? Think we're actually going to do background checks? Just Peter. It's just Peter. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so sick. It's so sinister. And I wish more governments would crumble. I wish more was highlighted of the insidious government, not just the UK, just around the world. Like, why is it only the UK that there's this much tension that people are calling for the resignation of Keir Starmer? They should have done it beforehand because Keir Starmer was corrupt and complicit and is just a neoliberal globalist like any other. You want digital IDs on the UK population, saying that's going to solve the immigration crisis that he himself created, by the way. They create these crises to solve you the most insidious solutions. Just like how here in Canada, they sold you the idea that we need to bring in immigrants because of jobs, because of the economy, because if we don't, oh my God, there's going to be a financial collapse. We got to bring these foreigners to our streets, to our communities without any recognition. And then they're going to sell you the idea, oh, well, we can't identify people, so now we got to give everyone digital ID. Now we got to do mass surveillance because, oopsie daisy, we brought in so many people that we never kept track of. Purposely, intentionally. Here's this. Here's CTV News saying leader of Scotland's Labour Party calls on Starmer to resign over Epstein revelations. I'm sorry. Did I say resolutions? I like to mix up words, you know. Yeah, that's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that the UK government of all places is crumbling. But our government's not crumbling. You know, the United States isn't. Like, I don't know why. Specifically the UK. Even though that we know that the UK is definitely complicit, Jeffrey Epstein. There's been new revelations. Oh, I wish I had that article. Where the royal family was providing protections for Jeffrey Epstein. King Charles himself, before he became king, was sending off security details and hiring private security to protect Jeffrey Epstein. The royal family was doing this. And and that's another thing to bring up with the Epstein files is Princess Di. Everyone knows about Princess Di's death in the late 90s. Do we know why she died? And do we know the story behind why Princess Di kind of had to go, and why King Charles met Camilla before he was king? They met Camilla shortly after Princess Diana died. There's a whole conspiracy that needs to be exposed there. So this is why this is so important. This is why I've said for the longest time, like, the Epstein files is going to reveal so much information. That's why they kept it under wraps. Here is this guy, Lee Harris, saying this is painful to watch. Keir Starmer says he would never appointed Peter Mandelson if he knew then what he knows now. So that's a straight up lie. That's a straight up lie. Because he told you that we didn't do any background research. We didn't care. We didn't care about that. So now he's saying, oh, well, now we know. I wouldn't have hired him in the first place. No, you would have. Because your masters, your overlords told you to. Your Starmer has no say in who his cabinet is. Just like Justin Trudeau had no say in his cabinet. It's people like the WEF. It's BlackRock. It's Vanguard, State Street. It's the Rothschild. It's Mira Mandelson. It's the Zionist cult. It's all these influential people. They're the ones that get to decide how politics operates. You don't get a say. You don't get choices whatsoever. Here's Keir Starmer. This is him on Sky News. Lying right to his teeth again. Right through his teeth.
Let me talk this through with you because it's important to appreciate what happened when, and I understand that. Obviously, the diplomatic post of American ambassador, really important post, and Peter Mandelson, before he was appointed, went through a due diligence process. That's the propriety and ethics team.
Again, that's a lie. You didn't know anything about him. He was just Peter. You laughed about it. He's just Peter. I don't know anything about him. You don't know anything about him. So that's just politics. That's just the state of affairs. Okay, moving on. That's what he told directly to the public, and now making the sob story of, well, if we knew then, when we knew now, then we would have hired him. What a sack of crap this guy is. What a sack of crap this guy is. Just like how he openly stated, he finally revealed the global plan of mass migration. He revealed that to the general public, even though he was complicit of it. And then goes on to say, well, because of this, that's why everyone needs to have the digital ID. That's why we have to verify people. That's why everyone has to become part of an algorithm instead of an individual person. This is how deceitful these people are. I'm so sick of this crap. I'm so sick of the semantics. I'm so sick of this crap. Of running circles with all these damn lies that I know are obvious lies, because a dumbass like me could easily point this out. A dumbass like me can easily point this out. Why? Because I've read articles. I do research. God forbid you look behind the news headline. God forbid people actually read some things beyond just what you're being told. Anyway, let's see.
Went through a process, and therefore I knew of his association with Epstein. But had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him. Because what emerged last week were emails, Bloomberg emails, which showed that the nature and extent of the relationship that Peter Mandelson had with Epstein was far different to what I had understood to be the position when I appointed him. On top of that, what the email showed was he was not only questioning, but wanting to challenge the conviction of Epstein at the time. That, for me, went and cut across the whole approach that I've taken on violence against women and girls for many years, and this government's approach. On top of that, what emerged last week, on Wednesday evening late, were Peter Mandelson's responses to questions that have been put to him by government officials. I looked at those responses and I did not find them at all satisfied. And therefore, on the basis of those three things, the nature and extent of the relationship being far different to what I'd understood to be the position at the point of appointment.
So that's just him being full of crap right there. That's him being full of crap right there. He's making a word salad of excuses of, well, I didn't know at the time the nature of this relationship. I didn't realize that the nature that, trafficking underage people to an island to traumatize them and brutalize them sexually, physically, mentally. Like, I didn't know at the time that was a bad thing. I didn't realize at the time, because I didn't realize I was going to become prime minister and I was actually going to be held responsible for these things. What a goddamn joke. What a slap in the face. If I was a UK resident right now, I'd be pissed off. I'd be absolutely pissed off with a response like this. After knowing the fact that here Starmer openly stated that he didn't do the background research. He didn't know anything. Probably because they didn't tell him anything. Probably because they told him, hey, here's Peter Mandelson. You're going to advise him. You're going to make him become an advisor of the UK government. You're going to shut your fat lips. You're going to shut up about this guy. You're not going to do a background research. You're going to just trust us. Trust me, bro. And just move on. And now that the curtain has finally pulled back to reveal this disgusting behavior, now Keir Starmer has to lie through his teeth because he's also complicit. And if the truth revealed about him, then obviously he would not become prime minister. He would not get a seat in the Labour Party. That's why these people do what they do. That's what's so deceitful about all this. And it's just so crazy that, again, the UK government is the one that takes the biggest blow. Not even the United States. Well, here's just what happened recently with Donald Trump and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who is Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor in Manhattan. I don't think people realize that. Howard Lutnick was neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein. He knew exactly what was going on. He was invited multiple times to these parties with Epstein, with Ghislaine Maxwell, so he knew exactly what was going on. And watch the reaction they give when a reporter asks them about Epstein files and the fact that Howard Lutnick and Donald Trump are both on these files. Watch this.
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I
They're giggling. They're laughing about, oh, we didn't know that, you know, these parties, it's so funny. You know why they're giggling? They're mocking you. They're mocking this because they know they done the most deceitful, dishonest, satanic things that they have done to innocent people that they're just going to get away with. No one's going to hold them account because they're all complicit. No one's going to revolt because they brainwash and manipulate you to not do anything about it. And if you do something about it, they'll just shut you down. They'll call you kooky, crazy, conspiracy nuts. Oh, what is it with you and Epstein all the time? It's so boring. I hate when people say that. It's so boring. Really, international human trafficking. That's been going on for decades. The reason why we have such horrible politicians, the reason why the country and the entire world is in the mess that's in right now, that's boring to you. That's boring to you. Yeah, let's talk more about Bad Bunny. Dumb idiots. You dumb cattle. And that's what I saw on Super Bowl Sunday. I didn't even watch the game. That's all I saw on X afterwards was Bad Bunny was so bad. Bad Bunny, the halftime show. Kid Rock. I don't freaking care. Who's even watching Super Bowl after all this? Who's caring about football? Knowing these monsters run amok. Knowing that the NFL is also complicit of this. They're also covering up horrific crimes. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that they can get away with this kind of garbage. Here's our neck of the woods. Look at this. Mark Carney's mentioned Epstein files 69 times. Justin Trudeau, 29 times. Guess who isn't? Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre is not mentioned in the Epstein files. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And people mock him as being this, low-grade politician. He's never done anything in his life. He's never had a career. But they trust a central banker who's part of this network. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? They put their blind faith to Mark Carney, a central banker, part of this evil network of sinister people. But Pierre Poilievre's the bad guy. Pierre Poilievre, he's never had a career in his life. Wow. And here's Mario Zalia saying, holy yes, Carney and his wife and his sister-in-law are all in the Epstein contact book. They are fully linked. And I've done a breakdown about this, that the Carney family is deeply, deeply involved. Carney's wife, Diana Fox, before she married Mark Carney, grew up with Ghislaine Maxwell. She knew about Robert Maxwell. She knew about this family. She knew about the activities. She knew this was going on. They married, Mark Carney married Diana Fox really as an opportunity to advance their careers. It was a convenient marriage, not for love, but they did intentionally because it advanced the stocks at Brookfield, because it advanced the connections. So all these people are complicit. And here's Mario Zalia to point this out about the Carneys.
I'm going to blow your mind.
But that is Jeffrey Epstein's contact book. And if you're in that book, you have met the individual. So when Mark Carney is playing it off like he has no relationship, never met her, never met Jeffrey Epstein, that is an outright lie. And this confirms it, because his wife's number is in the book. His sister-in-law's number is in the book. His ex-brother-in-law.
So that right there, Tanya Rotherwick. By the way, Rotherwick is a highly influential, deeply inside UK political insider. They're a mafia men family, just like the United States, just like Canada has. Mark Carney's sister-in-law, Tanya, married into that family. Married into it. Again, for convenience, for access. Not because they loved each other or had some sort of spiritual connection. but it was a fake marriage so that the two businesses can align, get access to further exploit people. Do you see the deception these people get, that they do to you? Do you see the deception? Do you see why this is all a game? It's all a charade.
Number is in the book. The wilderness party where he went to, Cornbury Park, is in the book. So it's not just a photo and a far reach to try and link them together. This is a direct link. So although I've been sitting on this information for quite a time, like I'm saying years, I never thought to look for this name because I didn't care about Mark Carney then. He wasn't running for prime minister of my country. But now that he is, and people asked me to do some research, I dug deep. And then somebody reached out to me and said, guess whose name is in the book? I said, no way.
There you go. As I repeatedly stated, there are no innocent people in this cabal. They're complicit one way or the other. They're either involved in tracking themselves and actually abused people, or they're part of the conspiracy to cover it up. And the reason why this has been kept a secret, this is why this goes back decades without people noticing, without people examining this, is because this is what keeps powerful interests afloat. This is what keeps the powerful being the powerful that they are. This is why they keep us in line. This is why they distract us with mealy-mouthed garbage. So that we don't see how awful this is, how we're being played, and how we should be coming together and rising up against this. Because they know you're not going to do anything about it. They know that they completely divided people on every single issue. They got us brainwashed to yell at each other on the most trivial nonsense whatsoever. But they will never, ever allow for us to come together on how awful this is and rise up against the awful, despicable darkness, the sick satanic evil, the rot that has corroded our entire society. They will never allow for this to happen. And that's why they got to lie through their teeth. That's why they got to come up with these crazy shenanigans. Right now, the mainstream media is now saying that, oh, Epstein was actually a KGB agent. Funny how it goes all back to Russia. Of course, now that gives them more excuse to keep Ukraine afloat. Because now, it seems like KGB, an organization that's been around in, 30 some odd years? They're definitely involved with PDF, so that's why we got to break up Russia. Holy crap. How long do they think they could play us until the world goes really to hell? How long do they think that people are going to be blinded to this deception before someone actually opens their eyes, wakes up, and realizes that there is a correlation between all of this? And for someone like me, again, I'm not a smart person. I'm not a high, a relevant person that predicts all this stuff. I'm not like a, what do you call it? A fortune teller. I can't foreshadow the future, but I can tell you how things kind of relate to other instances and connect the two, because I have a functioning brain, because I read things. I know how to analyze and apply that knowledge to aspects in life. That's what makes you a critical thinker. That's what makes you a smart person. That's what makes you an individual. That's what they hate more than ever, is individuals. People coming together with like-minded issues, with a likeness, to overthrow the powerful elite that deprived us for so many years. And that is the true battle that we as a society have to face. Not left versus right, us versus them.